Howdy ho, amigos. Welcome to Football Blue for a very important match preview. We are playing Arsenal this weekend, and we are looking to destroy them. It's a great opportunity right now. We are coming up with an international break, which means the pain will last longer. The pain, the news cycle, the suffering, the players left back having to deal with the psychological loss, the fans turning their hopes to their national team because Arsenal may have lost hope for the title at Stamford Bridge. Let's do it, please. I wouldn't like nothing more than to see a lot of Arsenal fans crying. And that just makes us happy, does it not? And especially because, yeah, I'm a little upset, to be honest, by remembering the stats. Okay, so first of all, last year they destroyed us 5-0 at Arsenal, at the Emirates. And the ex player thing with Havertz scoring a brace was just ew. So, but more painful than that, they managed to either, to tie a lot of games with us as well. And we have not beat Arsenal at Stamford Bridge since 2018. That's 6 years, mate. That's that's unacceptable. So, and since then, in the last couple of years, I mean, they weren't even doing well back in around those years, but in the last couple that they've been doing well with the changes in Arteta and this new Arsenal team, it's just made it harder as we were in transition. But now, I hope the scripts are flipped, and we now have an opportunity. We're on the up and up, and then they're on their way down. Hopefully, without having actually achieved much at all. It's sad, but hey, it's exactly what could be happening. And so let's try to kill that 6 year drought. Now, the big concern that we do have, amigos, we spoke about it already. This thing here. Cole Palmer injured. He did not train. He did not train. He was iced down after the game. This is the update. And I'm not sure I even want him to play at this stage. If he's not fully fit, let's not ruin a player. We've had such bad luck with injuries for the last couple of years. And this year we have an injury roster that's clear. And this is the last player that we need getting hurt. We can make do if we have to for one game. Yes, we'll lose this magical opportunity if the result doesn't come our way. But please don't sacrifice them. Obviously, we have to trust the physios, the team, the coach to make the right decision, and Cole himself if he feels he's ready to play or not. Especially, I think he's going to want to play really bad because he recently got accused, which is the stupidest thing, that he doesn't show up at big games, which is ridiculous. We discussed it in a prior video. In the big games, he has showed up, and he scored against every big rival, City, Spurs, everybody. So that's just silly. But that has been in the news lately, in the beta, and so absolutely, him coming in would be very important to put one to shut everybody up with a great performance. And I think this game would allow the opportunity to do that if he's fit. Then some potential changes or questions of how Chelsea might start this game. So let's start with the Palmer thing. Like you said, if he doesn't play, what do we do, right? Do we maintain taxes, maintain systems, do a man-for-man swap? And the natural sort of where we've been at, we would play Nkunku, right, as the 10. I'd love to see him there. I think he's a great player. But it's also possible that Jean, gets a shot. He's another player that I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I want to love him. You guys know, you probably feel the same way. Like, you want to love him. He's like all this potential. But, we might see it on his tombstone. João Felix had so much potential. We need to see that fulfilled. It was beautiful what he did against Noah. He was man of the match to me. But Noah's not Arsenal, right? and he hasn't been as effective with the last pass or the finishing in at the Premier League or at La Liga at Barcelona and or Atletico, and that's a bit of a concern. So let's just hope that if he comes in, he does a good job. But I think it's going to be Nkunku. There's one other person that I'm not a huge fan of, and you guys know that might be coming in, and that's Enzo as the 10. Um, as always with Enzo, in theory, it would be a great idea, right? It would give us more control of the game, his passing range. He's got two DMs behind him if that's where he plays, and he'll be able to find those passes in between the lines, ping it over the center backs. It's just defensively it's weak, so maybe the justification now pans out that if he plays as the 10 if Palmer's out. But let's assume Palmer's not out. Please, uh, and please do not play Enzo if Palmer's in the game. Don't play him. Please I don't know. That should have never happened. We all know making Enzo the captain, bringing him in and playing him so much. The stats have shown it. I'll bring it up in one of the next. I'm going to do an analysis all about it. But we lose so much more games. Our stats drop drastically when he's in the game, and we lose Caicedo, which happens to sacrifice more, be a six, be slower in transition, and suffering trying to make up for the weakness of Caicedo defensively. So let's ensure Enzo Maresca, please, just stick with the obvious. Lavia, Caicedo in the two defensive midfielders, and we'll be fine. As far as the midfield, we started from the midfield instead of from the back because of this news from Palmer. So hopefully that it'll be Lavia, Caicedo, and as a 10, Palmer or one of his replacements. Sort of the what we'll see there. Obviously, depending on what happens on the back, which we'll discuss now, is see what defensively we're going to do when we line up those three when we're in attack. What would that look like? Because what are the options in defense? On the left-hand side, there's word on the street that we might not play Cucurella and we might play Reece James. I'm not opposed to that idea. I know that freaks out some of you guys, but I think there's reason for it. So let's make the case. I'm not saying that that's what I want to happen, but let's make the case. Like, why would it happen? Why would it not be a terrible idea? It's because Bukayo Saka plays on that side. Bukayo Saka is the best offensive player that Arsenal have. It's their biggest weapon. It's their strongest player and goal scorer. And if we play Reece on the left-hand side, he's not going to be running up and down the field. He's going to focus on being the left center back position of the three most of the time. He's going to focus on his defensive game. And so not only can he out-muscle him, absolutely run alongside him, he has the speed. 3, he knows him. 4, if he cuts in on his left-hand side, which Saka loves doing, it's on James's strong right-hand side. So it's not crazy. And the main one, I've mentioned this in another thing, and I saw a little bit with in the last time James played there, is there's something very interesting. His range of passing is amazing. Don't forget that. So if we are able to do a quick recovery, having them back from that side will allow him to quickly play balls in behind Saka with a direct ball into Neto, whoever plays. Sancho, I don't think is right for this game, but I'm not mad if he plays. If we run through that left-hand side, and or an extremely long ball up into the other side to the winger, or to hopefully Palmer if he happens to be in that right-hand side. I saw that. And if you guys saw that in one of these games, Palmer would drop down when he was unable to play and find the ball. He would drop down, but he would drop down on the opposite side, into the left side to play the ball out with James. And a couple of times they did a 1-2, and James could just look up and he found Madueke wide, 50 meters down the field. So that's an interesting thing to see. Having said that, stick left back to left back. Cucurella has been doing a great job. He should be able to do that. The center backs are not going to change. It's going to be Fafana Caldwell. That's what they like playing on the right hand side. The question is, Gusto or James? And I think in this game, I don't think he's going to start James. We're still going to protect him for weeks or months or forever. We don't know. Um, but either one is fine by me. I really trust Gusto very much. I prefer to see James. But if we're going to do the inversion thing, um, either one is fine by me. Of course, I prefer James. And then up top, we know what we get. We know what we have. We know what we want. Um, we are doubling down. I spoke on the last video on, and I'll do another one speaking about our potential next number 9, Gyökeres, whatever, and Asime as a potential number 9 to come to the club. But right now, we're trying to build one, and he's one of the most underrated players, if you ask me. His stats are good. We trust him, and we want we always want everybody to become Didier Drogba on day one, and they haven't, and they won't. But this kid has a shot. He's still young. He's not the exact same kind of player, and yes, he's missed a couple of sitters here and there, but his numbers are good, and I think this is a good game for him. And I think with changes, I love having him on the field because I know how well he can play on that left hand side if need be. If we decide to play in Kunku through the middle, or somebody else comes in as a false 9, or uh, Palmer in a more offensive stage of the game drops into a false 9 slot, and um, Jackson can certainly drop and play from the left hand side a little bit in that half space. And I think he does a decent job of holding the line. I don't see him offside anymore. I used to hate that. It drove me nuts. He lived offside. I think he was going to build a home there, or I think he bought a timeshare. Thankfully, that's not the case anymore, not as often. And so I'm very confident about that. I'm very confident. I'm not very concerned from Arsenal in the back. I know Ben White has been amazing, but they have their struggles, and they have these players missing. Odegaard, Declan Rice is not going to play, and that's another one that I want to talk about. Declan Rice, I hope he plays, because there was so much banter about how Caicedo was overpriced and he sucked and this, that, and Declan Rice was far the better choice, and that we should have bought him. And, well, what about now, right? And the stats show it, and I think we'll see it in field. So I'd really love to see that battle in midfield. That's going to be really, really fun. And I think Caicedo will make the most of it. I think there's very few players that have the physicality that he does, and by that I don't mean the force, but his ability to get around the pitch. And it's a little misunderstood, or not noticed, or underappreciated. But in a game like this, it's incredibly important. We're going to see it. We're going to see it today. And as long as, look, we're able to defend, therefore the Lavia comment as well. If we have any hope of any protection for our back line, which really needs it, it has to be Lavia. That is the deeper lying midfielder, just for defensive purposes. And obviously, alongside him, we're going to do the whole thing. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Cucurella. So once he inverts, we're going to have our little square form there with the 2 in front of the 3. And let's hope that it works. I am a little concerned that we've been found out a little lately, and that we don't have something new to bring. But I think Enzo Maresca is going to show something different today. I think he has to. And I think the pressure that Arsenal are under, if they don't have an early goal, we're going to have an amazing game on our hands, because come the second half, they're going to have to come at us and give us that space that our offensive players relish. And I think that's where we're going to kill them. As long as we're sharp on the day, I do think we need 2. We need 2 goals. I don't think we can hold 90 minutes on an Arsenal that's under pressure and heavily attacking. I don't think, if that's the case, that we can hold for 90 minutes without conceding. So let's hope that we do that. Let's hope that Sanchez has a good game. We know not everybody's a fan, you guys out there, but he's our keeper. He's what we got. Let's just hope they don't get too obsessed with playing outside, playing from the back, and they are able to boot the damn thing when they have to. Other than that, I'm not too worried. I'm very excited about this one. Please subscribe. Please like the video. And above all, the most important thing, don't go anywhere. The most important thing, I'm going to be doing a live watch along. I'm very excited that we're going to do a watch along for this game. Such a big game, an important one that I'm very excited to watch with you guys. So please come join me. Let's watch it together. I'd love to see your comments prior to and during. I'll be joining early, and I hope to see you there. Hope to see you soon. Everybody have a good one. Come on, you Blues.